Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. Now, I know it's not Friday anymore, it's Saturday, but you know what? Let's talk about Texh Ingredients. Hey, Editor Rob here. I just want to jump in and apologize ahead of time for all the ums and all the rambling. I don't know what got into me, but enjoy me sounding like a buffoon. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to apologize. I know this video is a day late. It's Saturday. Sorry, between the trip and some of the medical issues, it's been kind of weird. So before, if you don't know, before the trip, I went down to see my sister and my nephew. I went in the hospital, had cellulitis in my leg. I spent, close to a week in the hospital. Got out. Thought everything was great. Went to my checkup and everything like that. A week later, at the checkup, asked the doctor, should I be okay to go on my trip? They said, yeah. He said, just, get up, go to the bathroom, kind of walk around just to prevent blood clot, that kind of thing. So, I go on my trip, and about a week after I'm done with my antibiotics, my legs started getting red and swelled and not really painful, but a little bothersome. So that happened, and then I also had on my gum a bump form, and it was fairly large. And so I went to a walk-in clinic and a dentist down there, and the walk-in clinic gave me, I went to that first, and the doctor there gave me an antibiotic that she said would work for both my leg and the tooth. So I went to the dentist the next morning after the walk-in clinic, and the dentist said, yeah, this tooth is abscessed. It's definitely going to have to be either reworked or pulled. And then when I got home, and the oral surgeon definitely thought that the tooth needed to be pulled. So anyway, after all that, I think I got bit on my finger. Because I don't know if it's coming across on the camera, but my pinky finger, on Wednesday night, I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, and I notice a couple bumps that are itchy, and by morning, it was like the whole finger was really swollen, bumps all over it, and really itchy. So I think maybe I got bit by something. Did a telehealth thing with my doctor, and they gave me some meds, and it seems to be getting better. So definitely on the mend with everything. So I appreciate everybody who has said things, and I appreciate you keeping me in your prayers and everything like that. So with all that out of the way, let's get into talking about Texh Ingredients. So I think I first came across the Texh Ingredients channel when I was looking at a video that said solar powered air conditioning, and I thought, well, that's really interesting because air conditioning takes a lot of power. I mean, if you've ever tested, I have one of those testers you can plug in like a heater or air conditioner or a refrigerator, whatever you want to plug into it, and plug it into the wall, and it's a meter, and it'll tell you how many watts, and you can view it in like watts or amps or whatever. It'll tell you how much energy that device that you have plugged in and running is consuming. And an air conditioner consumes a fair amount of electricity, and running it on solar would be a challenge, especially if you wanted to run it all night when there's no sun out. You would have to be able to charge your solar panels would have to be able to charge your batteries enough that they could handle running the air conditioner overnight too, if you wanted to be able to run the air conditioner all day. So I found this really interesting. So I watched it, and really what it was talking about is he was talking about running a fan that was circulating air, and it was a desiccant based air conditioning system, and it was a homemade thing. Now it's a big, huge thing. It's not just a unit you could go buy at the store, pop it in your window, but it's a cool idea. And I don't know, maybe they would be able to make something that could be a commercially available option, but even then, I think it would honestly end up being something that would have to be, it would take some installation. It will take more installation than just a conventional pop it in your air conditioner and seal the edges so you don't get bugs and air leakage and stuff. So I still think it's a really cool idea. I mean, it could be used as a permanent installation on a house or some buildings, maybe a garage or whatever, to help keep things cool. And it's very energy efficient. So I thought that was really cool. But essentially what it uses is the heat that's transferred when water droplets either form, or either, when there's condensation or when there is evaporation. You've either got molecules going together or coming apart, and there's heat transfer, and so all it's really doing is circulating some water with some humidity in it, or some air with some humidity in it, I'm sorry, and it's taking advantage of that physical principle. So instead of having to compress this gas in a tube, like in a standard air conditioner would compress gases, and then it decompresses, and it sort of takes advantage of the heat that is lost and received when you compress and decompress gases. This instead takes advantage of the evaporation and condensation of water inside of air. And so all you have to do, instead of having to expend the energy of compressing it, a gas, you just have to expend the energy of running a fan to circulate the whole thing. So it ends up taking up a lot less electricity. So I found that video and I thought it was really interesting. So I started watching some of his other ones, and he's recently done some that I thought were really cool. With this whole we'll call it human malware scare going on right now. He's done some videos on that, like how to make your own hand sanitizer, the correct way to use gloves. A lot of people will not take them off correctly, and they can recontaminate themselves. You don't want to touch the surface of the glove with your bare hand after you took the other one off. I mean, kind of makes sense when you think about it, but I don't think a lot of people really think that deeply about it, and they end up recontaminating themselves. So the correct way to take the glove off is to pull off the glove by touching the outside of the glove with the first one, and then when you take it off, you put your thumb under the other one while you're still holding this one, and you flip the other one around it, so the first one is inside the second one, and what's outside of the second one that you've taken off is the inside that was touching your hand. So all the contaminated surfaces are inside of that. I mean, I already knew that because I worked in for a group home company and had to learn all that stuff, but I thought it could be really useful for some people. So that was really interesting. And then he recently did a video on possibly, maybe being able to reuse some of these masks, because I mean, everybody's hoarding them. I mean, so a lot of people can't get them, and if you can't get them, if you can maybe get a hold of one, well, then maybe you can reuse it by sanitizing it. So he went through different possibilities of sanitizing it, like, you could use ozone, you could use UV, you could use alcohol, and essentially, probably the best way to do it is alcohol. I kind of did it the lazy way. I wanted to wear one when I went into the store. There was enough people there. I didn't want to get too close to people, and so I actually wore one. And when I got out to the car, I put it on the dashboard, and so the UV from the sun could help to sterilize it. So the problem with that, number one, all the UV isn't necessarily going to get through to all the layers, but number two, like he said in the video, and I actually hadn't thought about this, is that the UV can actually break down the polypropylene in these things. So really, you could soak them straight through with alcohol, and it's not going to do any damage to it. And if the alcohol's getting all the way through, because if you pour it on the inside of the mask, it'll actually start to come through. So it's getting through all the layers. And so that would be an effective way. You could just stick it in a jar or something like that, and then pull it back out, let it dry, and then you can actually reuse that alcohol that's in that jar. And so I thought that was a really useful video. He's done some other really cool stuff, like one was making your own loudspeakers using drivers and some boards and some other equipment. So I thought I would run through some of his other videos, just kind of give you some titles, and you can decide if any of these sound interesting to you. Revolutionary air conditioner. Fantastic DIY speakers for less than $30. World's second best speakers. World's best speakers. Solar powered air conditioner. Active noise cancellation. Build your own refrigerator. Solid state tech. How to make high performance smoke devices. Scientific approach to avoid the coronavirus. So as a kid, I always loved playing with magnets. I mean, I just remember being like mystified at this like invisible force that, I mean, you could have like a thin book or some other surface, put something metal or a magnet on top, and then have another magnet, and if it's strong enough or a thin enough book or surface, you could like drag the bottom one around, and the one on top would just follow it. Or the opposite, you could put the magnet on top and you could have the object underneath just following it around, and it was like almost like magic, and I love it. So he has a video that I'm gonna have to watch very soon because I don't know how I missed it, but it's called Extreme Magnets. So hopefully some of you guys find that pretty interesting. I definitely did. I hope that everyone is staying safe out there. I hope everything's going well for you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Hey everybody. Okay, clear my throat. And then I went to the dentist the next morning. He said, yeah, this is, what do they call that? Crap. Abscessed. That's what it is. So I thought maybe I would run through a few of his other videos. Here's some thoughts there. Revolutionary. That didn't sound right. World's best. How to make. Why can't I remember?